Everybody, welcome to another video. So here we have today Ser versus Estar. Yep, the challenge we all face when we go from English to Spanish. So we know that Ser versus Estar translates to be, but A, what does that even mean? And B, when do we use which one? How do we know? All questions we're going to answer today. First things first, what I like to do with this is strip it down to English and make sure everyone has that baseline met. After we've done our baseline of English, then we're going to dive into how do you conjugate ser, how do you conjugate a star, when do you use ser, or when do you use a star. And then there are going to be some closing thoughts at the end just to kind of summarize it all together. So let's just jump right into it, honestly. So here we have to be. What does to be, how does to be conjugate in English? When do we use it? Such a tough question. When you ask people who aren't actively learning a different language, oftentimes it's something they can't really pull out of their memory bank, but it's something we use every day in almost all of our conversations. So to be, right here I have it broken down, conjugated in English. So to be is I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, and then they are. So again, it's something we use every day. Sometimes what we do even is cut this even shorter. So instead of writing I am, you'll say I'm. Instead of you are, it's your. He's, she's, it's, and that's it's with an apostrophe S, not to be confused with its, which means possession. Little English lesson for you there. A lot of people always forget. We also have we're and there. So again, phrases we use every day. This is just the present tense. Once I dive into the preterite and imperfect, we'll kind of dive into what these look like in the past tense as well. But for now, present tense of to be, this is how it is in English. All right, so now that we have this down at our basic English level, let's first see how do we conjugate ser. And over here I have another grammar table that has every way to conjugate ser in the present tense. So we're focusing just on the present tense today. Again, too, as you'll see, every box represents a different subject. First person, second person, third person plural, third person singular, things like that. So really it says soy, but it's yo soy, tú eres, él es, ella es, usted es, nosotros somos, ellos son, ellas son. So we dive into these, or we exclude the subject on these because they're not needed. As they are translated for each one, it's intuitive. People know when I say soy, I'm referring to myself. I don't have to say yo soy. All right, so back to now our conjugation. What this looks like in English, like I said earlier, I am is yo soy, you are, tú eres, él es, ella es, it. We're going to dive into it later. That's a whole different can of worms. Nosotros somos, ellos son, ellas son. So that's if I'm translating from or conjugating ser into our English to be. Now let's look at different reasons as to why we would use ser instead of estar. And what I have up here is, I think, a really important kind of way to think about it. I wrote the word permanency. So with ser, there's a certain sense of it is a part of you. It is a part of the creation of this thing or this reason for being. So when there's permanency, most of the time we will be using ser. All right. First things first, the first reason why you use place of origin. The car is from Japan. That's originally where this car comes from. The second reason why you use ser is nationality. I'm Italian, you are American, right? All of that kind of ties into nationality. Third would be occupation. What do you do professionally? All right, and now permanency kind of comes into question here because you can change your career. However, permanently, what am I doing right now? I am a teacher. I am a doctor. I am a lawyer. That's me right now. And that's kind of permanent, right? I'm not going to change it like that. It takes time. So for that reason, we tie permanency to occupation. Relation to someone. He is my friend. She is my sister. He is my father, right? That doesn't really change. Sometimes you lose friends, I understand, but typically that relation doesn't change. He is my coworker. Political affiliation, ser, star. I'm not going to comment on political affiliations because it's a whole other beast that we do not have time to get into today. The size of something, right? The table is small. The chair is large, right? The size is ser instead of a star. the materials that it's made of. So this thing is made of wood. It is comprised of wood. So we would use ser in that situation. An explanation. So now this is closely tied to our subjunctive tense. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. We're going to have another video later on that explains what is the subjunctive. Just know when there's an explanation, right? Es importante que yo haga mi tarea, right? It's important that I do my work. That is my explanation. It is important that you. It's important that you go to school every day. It is important that you work hard to succeed, right? So that explanation is going to be ser instead of estar. And then last, permanency. This is the hardest one for me to describe, but I'm telling you right now, it just is ser. Just memorize it and you'll be good to go. For date, for time. So the time is la hora es. Today is hoy es. Right, so those are ser and estar. I guess that would tie kind of an explanation when you think about it, because you're explaining what time it is and you're explaining what day it is. How do you like that? Learn something new every day. All right, good. So that all works. So these are my different requirements to use ser. Now let's dive over and let's check out what's going on with estar. And first things first, I want to dive into how exactly it is conjugated, which I have right here. So, let's bring it back to our English. All right. So, estoy is I am. Estás is you are. Está is he is, she is, it is. Estamos is we are. Están is they are. Something important to note, especially for when you're writing in Spanish. The estás, está, y están all have a tilde on top. That implies there's more pronunciation on that E. Okay? So, again, I say these are in English what I said they were. I'm, your, he's, we are there. Really understanding when to use ser and when to use star is the golden ticket to being able to be understood in Spanish. All right? I remember one time I was in Spain, I was talking to someone, and I knew his brother, so I said, oye, ¿cómo es tu hermano? ¿Cómo es tu hermano? And he looked at me weird. He started explaining, well, my brother is, tall. He's an electrician. He's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I just wanted to know how he was. So while this seems like something easy, especially in English, like, oh, they're both to be. They both mean the same thing. How off can they really be? They can be really off. So understanding these differences is crucial to being understood. So let's keep on cruising now. We have the conjugations down. Hopefully you got those written down. Let's head on down to estar and when we use it. And again, I put now temporary here because these things can be a little more fleeting with estar. All right, so for example, position and location, right? Very similar, connected easily, and those are fleeing, right? Right now I'm in the library. Later on I'll be at my house. So location, I'm at school, that changes. Position, I'm on your left, I'm on your right, it's up top, it is down low. All of those things change. Emotion. Today I'm angry. Estoy enojado hoy. Right? That's not always. That's just for today. The condition of something. La puerta está cerrada. The door is closed. All right? The condition of something would be used for estar as well. And then progressive tenses. This is coming out later on. Progressive tenses, really not that advanced, but we use estar. So when we say I am walking, the progressive tense is just to be plus a gerund or a present participle or past participle, depending if it's the past or present progressive tense. So whenever there are actions I put in quotes, that's when we use estar. So I am walking, estoy caminando a la escuela. I'm walking to a la tienda, en vez de la escuela, to the store instead of the school. All right, so let's close it out here. Some closing thoughts. This is one that if you can memorize and just utilize, you'll be good, I'd say 75% of the time. And it's really easy. How you feel and where you are, you always use the verb estar. So if you can just write that down and memorize it 75% of the time, you'll be good. What I have posted as well is a video where we go through examples. And you guys take a second, you try and translate from English to Spanish, and then we talk about what was used, ser, estar, and why. So go on, check that out. Let's kind of plug through this together. Thanks for coming out. Have a good rest of your day.